Okay, let me continue with this. Luvindarikando PNUP 1. Makondo Moses. Then I confused my colleague because that was the order. So how many of you entered? Oh, you have only done one. Okay. No, let's just go the order the way we have been doing it. For National Assembly, Itompu Nsamina, Independent 1. Kalubankwaleyat, PNUP 2. Salungu Hanson, SP 3. Mukunga Michael, DP 3. Mukunga Michael, DP 03. Katolo Joseph from PF 190. From UPND 403. We had 2 ballot papers that have been rejected, and that a total of 604 votes were cast. Mayor, this is the announcement of the result of the poll for the position of the mayor. Mwaka Andres, PAC 1. Luvindarikando, PNUP 1. Makondo Moses, Mowera Gilbert, Independent 23. Lewira Tukia, PF 157. Kaleparemi, UPND 416. We had a total of 4 ballot papers that were rejected, and that a total of 604 votes were cast. We can now move to the local government. We had, pardon? School of Nursing 3 in Kamaramba 1. Mwemba Collins, SP 4. Samkonga Patrick, DP 11. Nikomeno Moses, PF 155. Soreka Loves, 427. We had a total of 5 ballot papers that have been rejected, and that a total of 602 votes were cast. 5. Thank you. I think now we have filled all the gaps. Okay, all right. Okay, there is
so assistant announcing some of the polling stations that are remaining in terms of completing all the 99 polling stations here in Solwezi Central. So we continue with him as he continues to announce the remaining polling station, which is Tumbangana 4.
Thank you very much. Now we are remaining with the last polling station, which is Tumbangana 2. That is Tumbangana 2. Okay. For presidential announcement of the Pope, Kateka Chishara, NHP 0. Kateka Kalabahari GP 0. Tanda Charles UPP 0. Tonga Enoch Third Liberation Movement 0. Tembosin PEP 0. Richmond LM 0. Mwenda Kasonde EFF 0. Mwamba Msonda Unit 0. Mumba Nevas MMD 0. Membe Fred SP 0. Lungu Edgar PF 73. Hakainde Hichilema UPND 636. We had a total of 10 ballot papers that have been rejected, and that a total of 724 ballots were cast. 724. National Assembly, Itompu Msamina, Independent, 02. Avankwa, Layout, PNUP, 10. Mukungu Michael, DP, 06. Salungu Hanson, SP, 11. Katol, PF, 104. Mulusa Stafford, UPND, 573. A total of 15 ballot papers have been rejected, and that a total of 729 votes were cast. Nero. Mwape Andres, GP, 0. Makondo Moses, SP, 06. Luvinda Likando, 11 ballots have been rejected, and that a total of 712 votes were cast. Local government election. We have the following: Mukwetunga from PNUP, 0. Kamau Daniel, SP, 03. Lukama Andrew, PF, 101. Xavier Kayombo, UPND, 603. 603. A total of 11 ballot papers have been rejected, and that a total of 718 votes were cast. This is the last election I've just announced. I'm sure now we have filled all the gaps.
So that was the assistant returning officer here at Somezi Municipal Council, where the total center is taking place for the 12th August 2021 general election, and he has just confirmed to us that they have managed and successfully to announce all the 99 polling stations that are here in Solwezi Central. And we should say that Solwezi Central on its own has constructed registered voters of about 76,377, and from this we have 37,454 registered male with 38,923 registered female. Now we just turn over to the electoral returning officer, who is Mr. David Saitumbo, just to update, making all those that results have been announced here from the 99 polling station here in Solwezi Central. So stay glued to Diamond News as we hear from the returning officer for Solwezi Central.
For presidential, we are supposed to make an announcement, and these are the announcement form. For the presidential, and in my case for the mayor, because for the mayor, the declaration will be done by the town clerk, who is the DEO. So, for the declaration of a councillor, for the declaration of the member of parliament, will only be generally entering those forms. So, are we able to, again, giving some bit of time to give our colleagues there to finish entering, or what is the way forward?
How long will it take?
I'm sure the forms are there. You can just look at and see what is involved, and then maybe we can estimate. Because for announcement of the president, we have no problem. Announcement of the mayor, even right after I finish filling them, I will announce from the X and Y as a president, certain votes have been given to X and Y as a mayor. Taken to Lusaka. That is how it is. So we give ourselves, I'm sure, with speed of hand, maybe 40, 50 minutes, we maybe get somewhere there. But because that's the only way to go. Sure.
I will wait for the declaration.
And who is the president? And who is the president according to us is?
Yes.
Yes. So we are going to fill this one and to make an announcement. We have no problem with that. Thank you.
And then also you have to give us an announcement. How long are you going to take to connect that?
Okay. So you can give us some time, we sum up and then be able to fill in these documents. Thank you.
Okay, so the returning officer, Mr. David Saitumbo, just giving an update in terms of how it's going to be, in terms of how they are going to make declarations of the winners of Solwezi Central. That is speaking of the National Assembly candidates that were participating in this election, and speaking of the mayoral candidates that were participating on the Solwezi Central, not forgetting the councillors. So there he was addressing just to tell them what the process is like for them to make a declaration, of the mayor, the winning mayor and the winning member of parliament as well as the winning councillors. So just from that, we should know that Solwezi constituency on its own has 12 wards in total, and we had a number of councillors just participating in this, general election. And among those wards, we had Kimasala ward, we had Kamalamba ward, we also had Kabijimpanga ward, we had Sandangombe ward, we had Kialalang, we had Tumbwanganai, we had Kajiva, we had Kivuku, Kiafukuma, Kimale, and finally we had Kifua. And all these 12 wards, this is where the 99 polling stations are coming from, and they have just completed the process of announcing the ballot papers from these 99 polling stations. So stay glued to Diamond News as we await also from Lusaka, from the National Total the election of Zambia will be giving results on the presidential candidate general election. So here in Solwezi Central constituency, in Solwezi district, the announcing of ballot papers has been completed, and all what awaits is for the returning officer to announce the winners for the National Assembly, for the mayoral, as well as the council. So keep glued to Diamond News as we continue to update you with whatever is going on with the winners from this election here in Solwezi Central. But let me just take some time just to talk to some observers, just to tell us how this process was going on during the announcing of the polling stations when they were counting these ballot papers. Maybe I can talk to one of the officials from the political party, which is United Party for National Development, just to explain to us how the process is. Good morning, good evening, sir. You are live on Diamond TV. Thank you. Please tell us, how was the process with regards to the announcing of the ballot papers in the 99, polling stations for Solwezi Central?
Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to make a comment over this tedious but worth it activity that we've had, starting from the nominations, the campaigns, up to date, the declaration of the candidates, and the exercise has not been all that easier, because during the campaign faced a lot of difficulties from the men in uniform, which made life very difficult. But through the grace of God and through engagements, here we are today. We have delivered all the 12 councillors. We have delivered the mayor, and we have delivered the member of parliament, and we have delivered the presidential vote. Even if it has not yet been declared, we have achieved, as Solwezi district being the provincial district for Northwestern Province, I'm sure we are leading by an example. We want to show the other districts that it has not been a good journey, but it was worth it. And we just urge the men in uniform, other stakeholders that we partnered with to work through these elections, that are a lot of reforms and changes instituted by the Electoral Commission of Zambia. One thing that we have learned, the Gen 20s, it has worked for us excellently. We've had the results within a shortest period of time. The reforms that they instituted, changing the whole polling district into polling stations, to urge our Electoral Commission is to speed up the announcement and the declaration of results. to reduce the anxieties in the minds and the hearts of the people. In short, that is what I can say.
All right, thank you so much for having you on the election update on Diamond TV News on the Go. Thank you. So that was one of the monitors and observers from the United Party for National Development who was involved in this process of, counting the ballot papers here at the Totaling Center for Solwezi Central Constituency. And those are some of the remarks that you've heard from him, talking about how the process was for them as a party and also just as they are here. I'll also just talk to one of the observers that were here, just to tell us how this process has been for them, being here for a long time, waiting for all the 99 polling stations to be Zambia. And that is easy because they were spending night here without sleeping to ensure that the process goes on well. But I will just hear a word from them just to tell us how this process has been, so far with them. Ma'am, you are live on Diamond TV, election updates. Are you able to tell us how this process was? Okay, so that was a letdown. She can't comment for now, but anyway, we keep updating you in terms of what will be going on here here at the Totaling Center for Solwezi Central, as we await for the returning officer, Mr. David Saitumbo, to make declaration of the winners that were participating in the National Assembly contesting for Solwezi Central for mayoral position as well as for councillors. So you have been watching Election Update with me, Dante Waria. Right now we'll get back to the studio so that we know what is going on at the Mulungushi International, which is the national for the 12th August 2021 general election.
Thank you so much to our correspondent there, that is Dante Walia, all the way from Solwezi, just giving us an update in regards to how the totaling is going at that particular polling totaling center. But now we also have results from Mansa district in terms of those that were announced as winners. Let's quickly cross over to Mansa district and see which people have won.
For Kampemba Ward district, hereby declare that I have, in accordance with the law, ascertained the result of the poll in the said ward, and that they have been given to Mwansa Lumbwa, SP 44. Mwansa Lumbwa, SP 44. Kawala Gastas, UPND 582. 582. Musenge Patson, PF 786. Musenge Patson, PF 786. I therefore declare that a total of 38 ballot papers have been rejected as invalid, and that a total of 1,450 votes were cast. I therefore declare that the said Musenge Patson to be this day duly elected as a member of the Mansa Council for Kampemba Ward, dated 13th day of August 2021. We move to the next word. I, Brian Lugumbe, being the returning officer for Mutuna Ward, Mansa District, do hereby declare that I have, in accordance with the law, ascertained the result of the poll in the said ward, and that they have been given to Mushimba Charles, Independent, 113. Mushimba Charles, Independent, 113. Fuya Simon M, Socialist Party, 136. Fuya Simon M, 136. Chibuye Gideon, Democratic Party, 214. Chibuye Gideon, Democratic Party, 214. Mariango Owen, United Party for National Development, 450. Mariango Owen, United Party for National Development, 450. Chola Hagai N, Patriotic Front, 1,343. Chola Hagai N, Patriotic Front, 1,343. I further declare that a total of 43 ballot papers have been rejected.
Well, thank you so much for that. That was in Mansa district. Just getting to see the people that have won and those that have not made it. Earlier on, we did cross over to Solozzi Central, where we did have a reporter and correspondent in Dante Walia, who has given us what is transpiring there at the Totland Center in terms of how many people registered and just cumulatively how the performance of various candidates that participated in that constituency are moving. And I'm joined in by Justin Mulenga. Justin.
Hey, Andrew, how you doing?
Good.
So obviously we've got to see what the Election Commission of Zambia has been doing in terms of just managing the situation. Overwhelming to get to see how they're trying to work with so much haste, because the viewers, the electorates out there are waiting to hear from them, especially when it comes to giving us the major results that everybody's expecting, which is the at presidential level. But it's also good to see that the presiding officers from the various totaling centers have been able to also give us these results. And we're here now, and the morning still does go on, because everybody is just glaring at the Election Commission of Zambia.
Technically, we've been here for 2 days. I should say good morning to you, our viewers that crossed over with us from before we reached midnight up until now. We are in the new day. Today is Saturday. And good morning to all of you. We are still counting down together up until the Electoral Commission of Zambia nation and give those final and verified results from across the country. We do know for a fact that the media personnel, stakeholders in terms of civil society organizations right now are at the Mulungushi International Conference Center. If you could have a picture right behind, so that we just get to see that, there's nothing yet happening, but we are very optimistic that pretty soon the Electoral Commission of Zambia will indeed address the nation.
Well, obviously this is a very tedious process, and we understand that it involves figures, and the last thing you want is to take a look at getting the wrong figures and even having to possibly put in...
So that is a picture from the Results Center, where, well, like you can see, the chairs are not occupied. That means that there's still meetings happening and there's still resolutions that are being made, so that even as they give us the total announcements or the the results as they come, obviously by now, Justin, I'm optimistic that a number of total centers have made their results to the National Totaling Center, that is a Mlungushi International Conference Center.
Well, like I was saying, obviously it is quite overwhelming. The last thing that they want to do is get the wrong figures, so it's very much important that we exhibit a lot of patience. When we look at the situation now, it's very tense, and we can already see the political stakeholders and the many civil society organizations that have been a part of the electoral process itself are demanding that these results be released immediately. For them, it's been long overdue, but then again, you're also looking at a lot of having to deliver these results, or ferry them from one location to another. But regardless of all of this, we're still getting to see a situation where they will be able to just provide us with those results as soon as they can.
Been long overdue, indeed. It has been long overdue, and as expected, we're supposed to have our first batch of announcements and results at exactly 10 a.m. in the morning. However, due to circumstances,
That was yesterday.
wow, it's actually even into yesterday at 10 a.m. We're actually into a new day. Yesterday at 10 a.m. that again changed, that they were still compiling and ensuring that they consolidate the results, and they told the nation that they'll get back at 15, and at 15 when the nation was tuned in to listen, get the results, 16 indefinitely now we don't know at what exact time the Electoral Commission of Zambia are going to give the results, but we're optimistic that the results are coming. The results are coming. The reason why you voted was for the Electoral Commission of Zambia to count the results and ensure that they announce to the nation who will be our leader for the next 5 years.
Well, we also need to remember that the Electoral Commission of Zambia just on Thursday did announce that they will try as much to hand over, or rather announce the results within a space of 72 hours. It hasn't been 72 hours as of yet, so they still obviously can be given some leeway in terms of just preparing themselves and ensuring that when they do deliver, these results are authentic, these results are accurate, and the electorates out there, the individuals that are definitely satisfied with the announcements.
It's first to mention that they said 72 hours after the close of the last polling station, and the last polling station closed at 5 yesterday in the morning at 5 hours. That means that we begin counting the 72 hours from 5 hours yesterday up until before 72 hours reaches, and that is approximately up to Monday from my calculation.
Well, so I think there just needs to be a lot of patience. We need to be as calm as possible, because at any moment, if the results are disseminated in a hasteful manner, we just might see total chaos, and that's something that we don't want to get into right now. Already we've seen violence, and even just during the voting process we did get to witness the eruption of it, but we try now to be as calm as possible and not engage in this kind of activity.
Very important. We need to be as calm as possible, because ultimately the reason why we have been patiently waiting is because we did cast a vote and we are waiting for the votes that we casted to be counted. And so if we are not calm, then I think it doesn't help the situation, because then more delays will come, and then it will just prolong the process. And so if the nation could remain as calm as possible, even as the Electoral Commission of Zambia is getting itself together to ensure that they get to resolve the issues that they have with hadn't the Electoral Commission of Zambia resolved the issue that they had with stakeholders at the Mulungushi International Conference Center today at 15, yesterday at 15, I think would have had issues with the Electoral Commission of Zambia, but they took a lean back, ensured that they resolve the difference that they had with the UPND and other stakeholders, other political parties, before the announcement of the results is done. So for me, I think to some extent it is a good move to stakeholders actual results, so that even as you give them the results, they will be satisfied that, look, we did resolve our issues before announcing the results.
Very interesting that you have actually mentioned how the Electoral Commission of Zambia has been trying to be as transparent as possible. I think that's the number one thing right now, being able to have dialogue with the many stakeholders that are involved and delivering that transparency, because they're dealing with a lot of data, and this data obviously requires a lot of attention. So in terms of them just managing the situation, very calm, and they're collected, reorganized. There is already seen some of the political stakeholders go out there and speculate, but this is not the time to do that, because it would not change the fact that we're still here and we're waiting.
But also one of the issues that I think the Electoral Commission of Zambia did work into to ensure that transparency is at the pinnacle of elections and voting is the fact that they had turned polling stations into those that could be counted, ballots from there. And so, as opposed to the system that we used to use a long time ago, where when you vote, they need to get the ballots, take them elsewhere before they could start counting them. But then counting is voting. The last person is done voting, counting begins, and so transparency then begins from the polling station before it could get anywhere. And the good part about that, Justin, is that political parties, civil society organizations already have their agents there. And so if I know that from this particular polling station, Justin Mulenga has gotten 5 votes, I will have that record. All right, from the other polling station, you've gotten 10 votes. Your agent from that other polling station will have that information. And so at the time that they'll cumulatively add the total, you can check if it tallies with the information that you have. It is whether transparency indeed is being adhered to or not, because of the system that has been introduced by the Electoral Commission of Zambia.
Well, just the day before yesterday, you and I did take a look at what was happening, within Monali constituency from the Unza Sports Hall polling station, and we did get to find polling agents over there and a few stakeholders just to get to monitor how this situation is done. And the reason for why it's taken this long is because obviously there are a lot of people this year that are participating in the elections. A million plus voters that have been included in the register. As now, that's leading up to the Electoral Commission of Zambia officials having to completely disclose what exactly is happening, from the separation of ballots to the counting of the ballots and so forth and so on. So all these things need to be put into consideration, because without all of this, then we get false figures.
Of course, I was explaining to Landy just the process of, from our observation actually, when we went to these different polling stations yesterday, what we realized was that the process is a bit tedious. After the voting is done, like I said earlier, they get to unbundle all the ballots, then they begin a process of separating the ballots. And so if they're doing presidential, they'll put, they'll have trays, political parties, before counting,
all 16,
separating first the ballots. And so if party X has gotten these amounts of the ballot papers, so they begin to separate up until the last candidate, and then after the separation is done, now they begin to count one by one. Now imagine that if all things are held constant and 7 million people voted as was registered, then that means that there's a lot of work to be done. You and I at Munali and different other polling stations, Woodlands B, but also in Chilenje, we did see Justin.
Chilenje Community Hall.
Chilenje Community Hall. We did see Justin. That tired at the time that we went at 01. Counting was being done, but then even manpower there was quite good. But then the fact that it's humans that are counting these things, it's quite tiresome and it's quite tedious.
Well, speaking of that, actually, we even got to witness how, and I think this is something that I should even go ahead and commend the, electoral officers that are manning some of these polling stations, them going as far as even having to listen to some of the polling agents when it came to recounting. I think at some point we did engage one of them, and they had to restart the whole procedure of recounting, just ensure that the figures are accurate. Again, I keep emphasizing on the figures because we're looking at huge numbers. Is made process.
I think it boils down to the training that these polling staff underwent by the Electoral Commission of Zambia. I think there was a lot of patience that was being taught to ensure that they get to know how to handle people's emotions, because people's emotions are usually high during these critical times as elections. And so they did a commendable job in terms of training the staff on how to handle key stakeholders, even as the counting is underway.
Speaking about also the emotions, we look at the Electoral Commission of Zambia officials that are located at these polling stations, these totaling centers. They've literally been awake for most of them 48 hours straight, and that could obviously could even errors, but I think the whole idea of rest is very much important. We've gotten to see, I think I did have a conversation with one of my colleagues who was stationed at a polling station, was mentioning that they were actually, switching in terms of when it was when they were counting. One would take rest, another would get up and continue, and vice versa. So, I think it's also important that we need to look at the aspect of mental health when it comes to the counting of these ballots.
Just like you and I are patiently waiting for the Electoral Commission of Zambia at the Mlongoshi International Conference Center to give us an official update in regards to how the counting of ballots is going, and the official announcement of elections is concerned. We'll be with you up until that particular activity and event starts. We take a short break, then on the other side we continue having a conversation with you and ensuring that we give you the latest updates in regards to the 2021 general elections.
Zona wakokonyala mangoza manje bafika nofika
abanja libinzi siwameno
Auntie, mbona ukupua kwa ndichitisa manyazi?